Ascendant in Virgo. When we say that someone is a Virgo, it is because he was born between August 23rd and September 22nd, approximately period in which the sun transits that sign. Instead, to know if the ascendant is in Virgo, it is necessary to know the time and place of birth, because the ascender is the sign that appeared on the horizon at the east point at the moment of the first breath. Virgo showing himself on the horizon suggests a destiny to learn to be receptive, to observe, to be able to make the most of every small opportunity, and to try how to pull the juice to the things that the rest reject or ignore. The challenge is to recognize the importance of the small and find the usefulness of what surrounds it, however insignificant it may seem. To become a cunning observer of our repetitive structures, not only in our daily actions, but also in our thoughts and prejudices, to encourage ourselves to denounce our matrices of beliefs that lead us to incarnate, and to suffer mates that we neither see nor question. Virgo is a changing sign and, like the other changing signs, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces, his destiny asks him to surrender to a life articulated by an order that surpasses his conscious desire, where each experience, however difficult it may seem, has a meaning and a for what, which the person will probably not be able to understand. Virgo is mutable and of earth, and seeks to become a constructive tool for projects that go beyond its own benefit. The ascendant in Virgo tends to rethink and question his decisions, and often suffers some existential dissatisfaction until he succeeds in discovering that his life is at the service of a superlative will that, in general, does not satisfy his conscious desires. Everything seems to cost him a little more than his environment, and what the rest solves quickly to him is delayed or becomes difficult for him. It is common for the ascendant in Virgo to have economic constraints in his family of origin. Those early shortcomings led him to develop observation and cunning to try to get the most out of each situation. In some cases, restrictions even involve some chronic illness that leads you to have to learn to maximize energy in times of health and to take advantage of the powers you still have. It is worth differentiating if your moon in Virgo. You need to be hardworking and meticulous. If you are of the Virgin, you are an observer and an analyst. If you are an ascendant in Virgo, you should learn to stop and observe to improve yourself and the environment. The ascendant in Virgo proposes to learn to value the small and stop seeking an ideal of happiness. Understand that there is nothing to seek because everything is already here and now. If happiness is sought, it is certain that it will not be found, because only what is already known. Happiness will not come as he expects, nor will it be something known, but rather a state that is going to be revealed, and that arises when, instead of thinking about how happy it should be, he is working, feels useful and fruitful, and finds himself shaken by rays of fullness and productively exalted. In his virgin destiny, he must develop a mystical effectiveness applied to his daily life and transcend the conditioning that says what happiness is about. For Virgo is associated with sacrifice and service. The word sacrifice becomes sacred office by exchanging the I for the O. He must understand that his destiny of sacred office should not be associated with being unhappy, but with collaborating to incarnate a more loving level in everyday life. Therefore, your function will be to work and collaborate so that there is ever greater happiness in your environment. The ascendant in Virgo will be an exceptional observer of life matrices and will often draw his attention to animals and nature. It tends to appreciate and enjoy the mysterious animal and plant lives that surround us quietly and nutritiously. Animals also teach you not to strive to be happy, but to be. They have no consciousness of happiness, but they are simply happy, even if at the second they can get alert or stressed. It is common for the ascendant in Virgo to work and be interested in ecological issues, recycling activities, and preservation of the environment. How to plant the different learners of an ascendant in Virgo individuality scenarios house. I in Virgo. Effective observer of what is important or eternal critical, because everything seems insufficient to you. The first sign of an ascendant in Virgo is Virgo. It initiates the birth letter or house I, which is the same as the ascendant, and invites him to discover himself acting from the Virginian qualities of observation and meticulosity and to realize that the more responsible and pointy his action is, the better he will feel. To come out into the world through Virgo means to understand that your decisions and your beginnings must be made with full consciousness and in a constant state of observation. Understand that your movements respond to a labyrinthic pattern, according to which the impulsive and abducted modes will only generate greater complications and delays. Many times your body, your diet, and your health may require your attention and your patience for having to move with some difficulty or undergo a particular diet. His life will insist on experiences of reorganization and enlightenment so that he discovers his own ability to adapt and regulate his own desire. He cannot blindly impose his will, but rather elaborate and articulate what others want in a context already given that imposes rules and guidelines on him. He knows how to take care of complex tasks or how to face projects that do not meet his ambitions, but that require to be ordered and solved pulchrally. House V in Capricorn. Solid, expressive commitment and creative responsibility to your children or hardness, limits and demands to create and to procreate. The fifth sign of the ascending Virgin is Capricorn and suggests a complex union between two highly antagonistic qualities, as Capricornio is austere and cold and will make it difficult to express himself freely, tends to inhibit his spontaneity and his ability to play and fun. He is usually tough on himself and considers himself inadequate, insulting or unopened. As he usually does not like himself, he loses confidence and freshness. But this self-exigence also leads him to always try to improve, to seek to perfect himself, and to train himself, to get the best out of himself, In general, his style is relentless, realistic, and hardworking, and he can occupy leadership positions without believing himself too important. In the recreation area, Capricornio suggests that what he likes most is work, which makes it difficult for him to give himself time for fun and triviality. At a level of integration, Capricorn in House 5 leads him to discover that, when he stops caring whether what he does is right or wrong, he can affirm himself in a solid, credible own style that makes him affectionate and resonant to others. House 5 in Capricorn further suggests that the bond with the children will be of demand and responsibility and can become a tough, cold, and judgmental parent, but can also occupy a role of a fully committed father, of attentive work, and of active presence in the lives of their children. House 9 in Taureau. Bold confidence in life or stubbornness to surrender to what he does not understand. The ninth sign of the ascending Virgo is Taurus, and suggests a complex alchemy that requires reuniting the expansive and trusted House 9 with the steadfastness and stubbornness of Taurus. In a level of tension, Taureau enjoys staying quiet and staying in familiar and safe spaces. It also inhibits any risk or exploration of new horizons associated with House 9. Conservatism, Taurine softness, and comfort hinder the possibility of doubting or rethinking life projects and vocations. At a level of greater integration, the House 9 in Taureau suggests a vocational path linked to artistic or physical activities, where beauty and sensuality are highlighted, activities in which it is not necessary to think or rationalize, but to feel what the body says. He suggests that the best thing for the Ascendant in Virgo will be to grow slowly, without hurry, but without pause, respecting his slow and conscious decisions before facing a new vocational challenge. Scenarios of materialization. House 2 in Libra. Aesthetic talent to generate and ability to work with others or eternal doubts and economic instability. The second sign of the ascending Virgin is Libra and suggests a particular alchemy, because to generate economic security, it must include lightness and subtlety. This can be misinterpreted as eternal monetary fluctuations or make it difficult for you to know what to do to be able to generate your money. At a level of tension, the indecisions and imbalances characteristic of Libra make it difficult for him to feel valuable or know what talents he has to generate or find what he really would like to do. The Libyan quality makes it difficult for him to make decisions and feel strong enough to solve his economy and stand up for himself. The etheric and binding nature of Libra often finds it easier to accompany others' projects than to take care of their own. At a higher level of integration, Libra in House 2 empowers you to observe and learn from others, and is usually good at doing business with diplomacy, subtlety, and no rush. In general, it works well arming economic societies without feeling damaged, and also suggests the ability to generate resources with themes associated with art, aesthetic, pleasant, and loving, or it can work helping others to value themselves, motivating people to improve their physical appearance, their psyche, or their emotions. House 6 in Aquarius. Maximum creativity to organize or chaos and daily unprecedentedness. The sixth sign of the ascending Virgo is Aquarius, and forces him to gather very antagonistic qualities. Because Aquarius is unpredictable, crazy, and mutant, and is active in the area of his life where he will most need to organize, respect habits, and order daily priorities and activities to be able to normally live his daily reality. At a level of tension, her daily life often turns chaotic, as she doesn't know how to organize herself or how to discriminate priorities when arming her agenda or her projects. Unstable and cyclotimic Aquarius does not manage to maintain healthy eating habits or maintain exercise routines because hygiene rituals, routines, and plans of physical activities and feeding are boring. The physician seems to bother him, and, in extreme situations, he would even wish not to have a body, often with good reason for suffering intense pains or chronic diseases. The eccentric Aquarian quality can cause you rare diseases or an unpredictable health that forces you to go down to the ground and force you to find originality to overcome the barriers of your daily and physical reality. At a level of full integration, Aquarius gives her the genius to stand out in any project that she undertakes, because since childhood, she has already trained herself in inventing creative ways to overcome the limits that she was facing in her life. In the face of every change of plan and every frustration, he knew how to find original ways of resolving with unusual creativity. At a level of tension, House 6 in Aquarius can make you impertinent and provocative with your colleagues or employees, not knowing how to obey or give orders, improvising in your tasks, and becoming unnecessarily stubborn and rebellious. At an integrated level, it is perceived differently, but it knows how to maintain an intelligent distance and not get caught up in stupid everyday conflicts. In addition, he proposes original and creative forms in his daily work. Aquarius in the House 6 brothers him with animals because he perceives them as part of a great life chain, feels them humble companions of our existence that give us his disinterested company and bring us mysterious calm and comfort. House 10 in Geminis. Adaptability and job options or ambivalences and job uncertainties. The 10th sign of the Ascendant Virgo is Gemini and suggests the need to open up, look for options, and be willing to always explore new variables in the workplace. At a level of tension, the mild and careless Geminian quality cannot sustain labor commitments and becomes unreliable to itself and its surroundings. You may have irresponsible and superficial attitudes in your profession that lead to changes and job uncertainty. You may be pressured to be serious and responsible or force yourself to know what you want. But the more you strive to maintain routine jobs, the more trapped you will feel and the more work complications you will have. You will have to accept your moving and changing Gemini quality to find your professional place. To do this, you will need to explore variables and research options until you can feel that you really found your job. His attitude of searching and constant exploration often makes him feel wrong in the eyes of society, which demands clarity and professional stability. At an integration level, Gemini in House 10 suggests including doubt, adaptability, and the ability to experience variables in work, knowing that there is no more firm work project than one that has been fed with choices and has been allowed to change every time it was necessary. Geminis knows that work is always a place full of uncertainties, and therefore challenges to seek to improve and incorporate new techniques and projects. He knows that no professional space is safe, and for this reason, he does not dramatize whether he should leave a job, because he trusts that he will invent something new. It is quickly included in change of course, as it lives the work as a dynamic and challenging environment. The professional environment allows you to play, Investigate and find intelligent answers to the constant challenges presented to you. Geminis creates cheerful and enthusiastic workspaces in which to be heard and be heard. Brings freshness and flexibility in places that traditionally tend to be rigid and demanding. Gemini in House 10 suggests unconventional authority figures because it does not meet social expectations about the right ways to put limits or face leadership roles. The father could live as someone with childish traits, insecure and immature, or as an incidental, restless, intelligent, and entertaining person at the level of talent. Link scenarios: House 3 in Scorpio. Mental power that transforms bonding or mental manipulation and power conflicts into fraternal relationships. The third sign of the ascending Virgo is Scorpio and suggests an intense and profound thought form that needs to communicate with committed and penetrating words. House 3, agile, lightweight, and adaptable, must find the way to alchemize with the firmness and depth of Scorpio in order to be able to transmit the unfathomable. He will find it difficult to find the right way to be understood and to communicate without sounding fatalist or censoring. It tends to become too intense, reckless, and difficult to understand, and has a tendency to sound stubborn and difficult for exchanging opinions or negotiating. In order to communicate deeply with another, you must first learn to record the timing and the appropriate tones to practice being more subtle and less confrontative. Scorpio, well integrated into House 3, enables you to be profound and committed when speaking, can say what no one dares, and is encouraged to denounce complicated situations or repressed feelings to try to overcome and improve them. It can become a bridge to communicate the mysterious and the secret with an ever more powerful and healing word. Scorpio in House 3 also suggests the quality of the first fraternal relationships. These early bonds leave traces of competition and complex power games that are often reproduced in relationships and dialogue in adulthood. It tends to communicate in relentless and impetuous ways that can be misheard and provoke both conflict and unthinkable competitiveness. House 7 in Piscis. Romantic, empathic encounter or delusions and spells in the couple. The seventh sign of the ascending Virgin is Pisces and suggests that the qualities of sensitivity and empathy will be experienced through the couple. At one level of tension, the other loses it, confuses it with spells and illusions it with delusional lies. The fish quality dilutes boundaries and returns the couple diffuse and with difficulty to clarify what is really happening. It is difficult for you to sort out guidelines or agree on individual priorities. Although Pisces invites him to live love as an irrational surrender, it often makes it difficult for him to maintain relationships that involve disillusions because the other must fit in his own illusion. The couple tends to be a dream where they project fascinating, but also dark ghosts. At a level of integration, Pisces proposes to dispose to love without pretending to rationalize it, surrender to live it as a space to release control and abandon his censoring style. The relationship invites you to relax demands, allow yourself to be soft and live your sensitive side. The other invites us to a merciful bestowal and to allow ourselves an immeasurable love which he will not be able to feel in any other area of his life. The couple offers him an unconditional surrender that fascinates and anguishes him at the same time, because he cannot understand or control what happens there. House 11 in Cancer, belonging and commitment to intimate friendships or fears and prejudices to open up to the new. The 11th sign of the ascending Virgo is Cancer and tends to generate friction, as Cancer needs to give itself time to be safe before opening up to the different or allowing itself to trust new friends. The Cancer quality seeks calm and security and is afraid to be included in those projects that it has not planned. It gives you vertigo to open up and take advantage of ideas or suggestions that strangers can bring to your life, and tends to shut up and stay out of the new by repeating the same links and reproducing projects from the past. If he overcomes the fear of the different, the Cancer quality in the 11th house can feel comfortable and cared for in passing friendship relationships, can afford nutritious encounters with people he barely knows, because he has learned to trust in synchronicities and to recognize that many times The relationships that accidentally cross along his path have helped him, and experiences of mutual collaboration and solidarity have been generated. Cancer in House 11 knows how to produce a good climate in membership groups and add empathy and loving collaboration between very different people. In addition, it suggests the possibility of making real friends with people in the family, or having friends who feel part of their own family. Emotional scenarios: House 4 in Sagittarius. Optimism and basic joy or repeated denials of your problems. The fourth ascendant sign in Virgo is Sagittarius, and suggests a clearly optimistic emotional world that gives you a basic confidence to move forward when things get difficult. It also suggests a believing family that has been able to enable trust in transcendent senses, but may also have been raised in a dogmatic environment, denying conflict and having difficulty admitting ideas different from their own at a level of tension. House 4 in Sagittarius operates by generating an omnipotent and denying emotional refuge that undermines their learning of adaptability and virgin service. He inherited a radicalized thinking that led him to believe himself to possess unquestionable truths and to have sober and uncompromising behaviors. If he manages to stop denying what really happens, he will realize that he is usually the best solver of problems, because his House 4 in Sagittarius enables him to be resolute and optimistic and to find answers outdated even in the worst situations, knows how to radiate confidence beyond all adversity. At an optimal level of integration, Sagittarius is a source of vitality that helps to renew the faith of your environment and to draw strength to keep trying even when things get difficult. Find solutions where others are easily overlooked. Sagittarius encourages you to revive hopes and reinvent yourself day by day. House 4 in Sagittarius symbolizes the relationship with a somewhat dogmatic and denying mother, but also positive, idealist, and creative, who knew how to stimulate him to move forward. His childhood was surrounded by energetic and confident people who left an imprint of personal security. Therefore, one tendency is to be naturally positive, though somewhat escapist and disconnected. Aries in House 8, courage to reinvent or irritability and reactive anger in crisis situations. The eighth sign of the ascending Virgo is Aries and usually leads him to unreasonably encapsulate himself and to want to indiscriminately impose his arbitrary desire. He feels threatened if he should give up space or negotiate, and instead of trying to reach agreements, Aries seems to provoke even greater conflicts as he presses for problems to come to light and be recognized as soon as possible. Sometimes, he is scared of that uncontrollable madness that leads him to provoke and try to repress himself, but it is likely to only generate more tension with unexplained, unlocated comments or unexpected aggressive behavior. The dark feelings of the 8th house, far from being suppressed, need to be understood, crossed through, and deciphered in order to initiate any improvement or emotional healing process. To do so, he will have to accept his wrath and allow himself to express it. Recognize himself contaminated with anger without having to blame or devote it to anyone. Dare to express his anger with no need to look for people to fight with. If you manage to accept and transmute your Aryan aggression, you may begin to recognize the strength and vitality of your inner warrior. If you assume your competitiveness and veracity, you can use it to move forward in your strenuous virgin life. It recognizes that it needs all the vitality of the warrior to continue with inexhaustible courage to reinvent forces in the face of every difficulty and to recycle and continue always, finding new solutions in the most adverse situations. Aries in House 8 suggests that, at the time when a person with a Virgo descent was born, his family was going through a crisis where people around him were replenishing loyalties and hiding fights. There was a complex climate of family competitiveness, misunderstandings, and questions about the rights of each individual. The unspoken anger and the repressed fury left in the person an unconscious mark of contained tension and anger. Reading at House 12, resonant creative irradiation or disproportionate selfish delusions. The 11th sign of the ascending Virgin is Leo and suggests an excessive ego that always wants to show itself, attract attention, and be applauded. He poses a complex tension for his destiny as an ascendant in Virgo, as king for service and solidarity. If you are trapped in the Leonian energies that pretend to be always in the role of majority, you will live eternally offended because nothing that happens will confirm you in that role, and you will feel that your life becomes increasingly frustrating and complicated. The sooner you accept that your life path requires you to become functional in a deep order, the sooner will you overcome suffering and complications. At an integrated level, Leo resonating as unconscious wisdom allows you to put heart to every action you take and be enthusiastic about collaborating on the projects your environment needs. Leo in the 12th house proposes to dissolve his irritating selfish personality, to become increasingly harmless so that nothing offends him and, therefore, to that nothing distracts him from the relevant things. To disfigure the Leonian quality is to realize that your life does not have to become successful or important. To accompany a powerful discovery requires humility, consideration, patience, and courtesy to yourself. Far from frustrating him, the quality of this perception should free him from living obsessed with the ambition or greed to need to feel important. Leo in House 12 suggests exhausting yourself from the dramas of the ego, extinguishing personal dramatism to put yourself at the service of what is truly important. Liberated from his expectations of success, he recovers a lot of energy and vitality to devote himself to what really passionates him, without speculation, and commit with all his heart to doing what he loves without assessing whether that will make him famous or make him feel important. The House 12 in Leo will be an inexhaustible source of creativity at the service of a useful and efficient life, where to discover that his consciousness transmute from having a personality prone to offending to becoming a creative and useful tool of purposes that transcend him. Summary of the Ascendant in Virgo modality: mutable seeker, element earth realism, learning by destination, pacifist and healer that develops solidarity and ecological consciousness, tendency to take refuge in your ego and not realize what would really prove useful. It suffers from physical or economic limitations, slowness in achievement, and excessive demands. Regent planet, Mercury, part of the body that governs and of special vulnerability. Intestines, period of basic learning, from 7 to 14 years, which will be significant between the ages of 35 and 42. Life mission, to be efficient and to do what is necessary. Misinterpretation of the mission, frustration and eternal self-criticism for not achieving everything you long for. Distribution of signs for ascending in Virgo. His action destination is Virgo. Generate with Libra. Communicate with Scorpio. Emotionally stabilize with Sagittarius. Express with Capricorn. Organize with Aquarius. Complement with Pisces. Turn into Aries. Trust Taureau. Working with Gemini. Open new projects with Cancer, and resonate with Leo. If this ascendant finds the way to integrate these proposals, it will. An efficient destiny doing what is necessary. Generate with beauty and subtlety. Communicate with intense commitment. Be emotionally confident and empowering. Express yourself with firmness and commitment. Organize yourself in original and creative ways. By complementing each other, generate loving resonance and empathy. In the face of crises, transform and become more powerful. By trusting and surrendering, discover greater power and abundance. Work in camaraderie and with the ability to adapt. Open up to the new with sensitive commitment. Resonate with creative originality. If this ascendant does not find a way to integrate these proposals, he will suffer a destination of criticism, restrictions, and shortcomings. Generate resources in a volatile and unsafe way. Communicate with hurtful and harmful words. Be emotionally negative and dogmatic. Be rigid and authoritarian. Organize in chaotic and unstable ways. Complement yourself with delusions, full of lies and misunderstandings. When going through critical situations, get angry and become aggressive, unable to surrender or trust. Eternal professional doubts and job insecurity. Close yourself in your familiar world instead of trusting others, being enchanted with himself, trapped in his arrogance and egocentrism.